guys, it's Jessica, and today I have a different sort of tutorial for you. I will be making Inuyasha's sword Tetsaiga. So I hope you guys enjoy! So to start off, you will need some silver polymer clay, some white clay, some black clay, some brown clay, as well as a little bit of gold clay, and I'm using Fimo brand for all of it. So taking your silver clay, you're going to want to flatten it out and roll it into a really thick sausage shape. Once that's done, you can place it to the side and grab a paper clip. So with this paper clip, I am simply using a pair of pliers to bend it into a straight line. And I do this just so that we can use it to support the inside of the key. Once you have your paper clip, you can put it to the side and grab an X-Acto knife or something that has a flat surface. And here what I'm doing is I'm just taking the sausage and kind of flattening it out a little bit on the sides. And once that's done, you can choose an end and sort of curve it, almost like a bit of a hockey stick. And you just want to give it a slight curve, as that's what Inuyasha's sword has. Once we're done with the body of the sword, we're going to take a little bit of that brown and we are going to roll it into a decently thin log. And we want this log to be about an inch wide. Once you have that, you're going to take your paper clip and just put it into the brown log, and that's essentially going to be the handle of the sword. Then you can take a little ball of gold, roll it out, and just add it to the very end of it, and it'll just make a nice little handle. Now to make the white fur, I'm just taking a bit of scrap white clay and adding it in between the brown handle and the body of the key, and it doesn't really matter what it looks like because we're going to be covering it up. And then here you can see I'm just adding a head pin into the handle of the key so you can attach it to a keychain if you want later. And just to make sure everything sticks together good, I'm using a bit of liquid Sculpey. Alright, to add some more detail to the sword, I'm just taking my X-Acto knife and drawing a line in the middle. Then I'm going to take the blade and run it along the edge of the sword on an angle, and that's just going to give it more of a sword-like appearance. And I think it just looks better than having a stumpy looking sword. It actually makes it look a little bit sharp. Once you're done sharpening one side of the sword, flip it over and do the other side. So here is the blade of the sword once it's been all smoothed out, and I'm just going to reattach the top of the sword, and then I'm going to take my X-Acto knife and I'm just cutting some really small lines to make it look like the sword has been beaten up during battle, and it gives it a little bit more character. Once that's done, you are going to pre-bake it for 15 minutes following the instructions on your packet of polymer clay, and once that's nice and hard, you can actually move on to working on the details. So here I have a really thin little log of brown clay and I'm rolling it out so that it looks a bit like leather. And what we're going to do with this is we are going to texture it and rough it up a little bit so that it looks like a hand grip. And we are essentially going to be covering the top of the sword with this fake leather strip. So once it's done, this is kind of what it should look like. So now it's time to move on to the fur. Basically what I'm doing is taking little triangular shapes of white polymer clay, and I'm not really caring if it looks rough or anything, and I'm sort of smoothing it onto that pre-baked white clay that we had put there before. And I'm going to just smooth it on there and make it look like one side is higher than the other, so it sort of looks like a slope. And you're just going to want to do that all over the key. Once it's been attached, I'm just taking a needle tool and adding some texture into the fur as well as to the handle. And if you want to really add some texture in there, don't be afraid to get a toothbrush. Make sure it's not one someone's still using. And you can kind of go over the fur and it will give it a little bit more of a realistic texture. So once you're done, you can bake it a second time, and here's the completed key. As you can see, the slash marks are a bit darker and the fur is slightly more brown, and that's just because I added a little bit of chalk pastel. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the tutorial. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, keep it cooler!